Hey guys, my name is Matimio, and welcome to another episode of Sunday Mailbox. This is a video series where you, the viewer, can submit your gaming or Battlefield-related questions, and then I will give my humble opinion on them. And to get the formalities out of the way real quick, if you would like to submit your own question that could be featured in an upcoming episode, you can do so by leaving a comment down below, or by sending me a YouTube message. The first question for today comes from Gene, and it is, what do you think about having different types of ammo in Battlefield 4, such as armor piercing, hollow point, etc.? Well, honestly, we're probably never going to see this in Battlefield 4. This would be a huge overhaul to the weapon balance in the game. There would be a lot of different factors that would have to be taken into consideration, and so I don't think that this is going to be something that we're going to see in a future DLC or anything like that. I do, however, believe that this might be something that we see in a future Battlefield title. A lot of first-person shooters, and Battlefield in particular, like to go pretty crazy when it comes to customization. Like, every single year a new Battlefield title has come out, more and more customization has been available to the players. We have an absurd amount of camos now, we have a lot of different slots to customize the optics, the different scopes, we have different barrels, all of these different customization options, which is fantastic. I know a lot of people enjoy that, but I have a feeling for the next game, to push it a step further, that ammo types is going to be another one of those slots. And if they do this, and it's implemented correctly, and it's well balanced, I honestly think that this could be a fun addition to the Battlefield title. You could have ammo types that do a lot of damage up close, but suffers at range. Maybe it causes a lot more bullet deviation at a distance. Maybe you could have a couple ammo that travels a little bit faster. It has less bullet drop, so you can take out targets at a distance, but maybe does slightly less damage. There are a lot of different options that they can add to the system itself, and I think if they just do it correctly and it's well balanced and you don't have one ammo type that completely dominates all the others, I think it could be an amazing addition into the Battlefield franchise. So I honestly think that this is a fantastic suggestion. The next question comes from Joe's Got More, and it is, with all the hated grenade spam, what do you think about limiting the number of grenades by not allowing them to be replenished by ammo boxes or ammo bags? However, they can still be replenished by ammo crates. This would greatly help with this problem and make grenades a much more valuable resource. I really like this idea, and I'm sure many people out there would agree with you that the grenade spam in this game, especially on certain maps, Operation Metro comes to mind, but even Operation Locker, basically all of the close quarter maps, grenade spam is infuriating. It's basically just like throwing grenades back and forth and every once in a while getting a couple of kills, but that's not a gameplay experience that I was really looking for when I jumped into Battlefield 4. And while I appreciate all the different options that we have for all the different grenade types, we have the mini, the impact, the frag, all these different grenades, which is awesome. I love more customization, but it's gotten to the point where there's just so much spam, not only grenades, but explosive devices. We have now the XM air burst. There's basically every single class has some sort of gadget or explosive device that they can use to blow up their targets. There's just so many explosions happening on some of these maps that it gets old. It gets old fast. Like when I play first-person shooter, I want the first-person shooter aspect of it. I want to shoot at enemies and not just throw grenades all over the place. Back in Battlefield 3, I didn't think it was a perfect system, but grenades in that game, they were more meant as zone control. If you knew a couple of people were about to rush you, you would throw a grenade to try to stop them. Or if you knew someone was just around the corner, you could throw your grenade to try to move them away from that so that you could rush in and then take them out. Don't get me wrong, I do realize that back in Battlefield 3, grenade spam was a large issue on some of these maps, and mainly Operation Metro comes to mind, but it was clearly not as bad as it is right now in Battlefield 4, and it's for that very reason why I think something needs to be done. I do realize that DICE is going in, they are trying to balance things out. They already wrote an article, I think it was like about a month ago, talking about how they are going to make some slight tweaks and changes, especially to the mini and the impact, and so hopefully that balance patch will be coming very soon. I'm surprised it's been taking them so long, but even still, I think that your suggestion is a solid one. It would cause people to think more about when to use their grenades. It would make them a much more valuable resource, and honestly, it would just cause there to be a lot less grenade spam, so I would love if DICE decided to go down this path. The next question is, for this new generation of consoles, a lot of developers are moving into the realm of story-based online multiplayer and multiplayer-only games. Do you think that the Battlefield series should shed its single-player component and adopt this model? It's funny that you bring this up because when the Battlefield franchise first started out, it did not have a single player component. There was no story mode, and it was completely focused and centered around the multiplayer experience. But now, as you guys all know, with the modern Battlefield titles, DICE has graced us with the mediocre single player experience. And some of you out there, including me, would like them to get back to their roots, to just get back to focusing and centering around their entire game, pulling all of their resources into creating one of the most amazing multiplayer experiences that we have ever seen. That would be a dream. But the reason why DICE has continued to focus and create a single player experience is because they know that more people will buy their product. You guys are probably like me and maybe played the single player one time through, or maybe spent a couple hours in it just to see what it was like, and then just shifted back on over to the multiplayer. You bought Battlefield for the multiplayer experience. You spend hundreds and hundreds of hours with the multiplayer and could care less about the single player. But there are a lot of people out there that wouldn't even thought of buying Battlefield 4 if it did not have a single player. They may not even touch the multiplayer, for how crazy that sounds. They simply bought Battlefield for the single player experience. There are also a lot of people out there that may think that they would enjoy the multiplayer, but if it doesn't have a single player component, they won't touch the product. And so it's for those very reasons why DICE and really a lot of major AAA titles have a single player experience, because they know that people won't buy it if it's not in the game. That being said though, we now have the arrival of Titanfall, and I'm assuming this is where this question is stemming from, because all of their development time, all of their investment went into the multiplayer. They do not even have a single player component. And so I'm crossing my fingers that not only will the game be fantastic, because who doesn't want an amazing first-person shooter in 2014, but on top of it being amazing, I want it to be very successful, because if it makes a lot of money, this could be a very big cue to developers and publishers that you can still make a ridiculous amount of money with just a multiplayer game and a multiplayer experience. And if that is true, and that is what happens, it could be a cue to DICE to just scrap their mediocre single player and completely focus on the multiplayer. I honestly don't think this is going to happen for all of the things that I just mentioned before. We can always cross our fingers, but it could be something that future developers go down, and honestly, that is something that I would love for DICE to do with their Battlefield franchise. The next question comes from George, and it is, what do you think about DICE adding an anti-watercraft mine that would detonate when an attack boat gets close? I wouldn't get your hopes up too much for water mines being added, because we already know of the two gadgets that will be implemented with the DLC. It's going to be the new helicopter mines. I'm very curious to know how overpowered that is going to be, or how annoying that they're going to be, and the new grenade launcher. Who knows, they may sneak it in at the last second. It could be a very big secret that they're holding on to reveal to us in a later date, but I have a feeling that we won't get usable or gadget water mines with the DLC. What I could see happening though is that DICE may add them as a levolution moment, something like the IEDs on Silk Road and Gomad Railways, where you either have to press a button, maybe if you shoot at them with a rocket, or if you're in a boat, an attack boat, you're shooting at another attack boat, instead of going for them directly, you just see that explosive device floated on the water. Maybe you could shoot at that and then take them out that way. Maybe they'll just act as mines themselves, so you have to navigate around them. They could be an obstacle that you just have to be wary of. Levolution doesn't just have to be stuff that you blow up. It could be something that you avoid that makes the map feel a little bit more alive, like a real war zone. That could be something that I could see DICE doing for Naval Strike. But as an actual gadget, because we already know of the two ones, it could be a secret. They could surprise us, but I don't think this is going to be a gadget that the engineer or one of the classes can use. But that is about it for today's Sunday Mailbox, guys. I hope you enjoyed. Once again, if you would like to submit your own question that could be featured in an upcoming episode, you can do so by leaving a comment down below or by sending me a YouTube message. But until tomorrow, have a good one and take it easy.